Hey guys, I heard they're always hiring in the mailroom. Anyway, here's the answer key to 9-2, and here we go. A little easier to go over this one than the last one, by the way. There's not quite as many variations. Okay, so number 1, I just kind of sketched it to make it a little easier. 1 and 2 are supplementary angles. There are also adjacent angles. I would take either one. 1 and 3 are vertical angles because they form like a little bow tie. Number 3, if the measure of angle 4 is 100 degrees on the same drawing again, then the measure of angle 1 would have to go with that to make 180 to be a straight line, right? Because they're supplementary. So that means the measure of angle 1 would be 80 degrees. Then the other obtuse one, the vertical angle to 4 would be 100, and the vertical angle to 1 would be 80. So it asked you to find the other angles. So they gave us 4. Measure of angle 1 is 80 degrees, measure of angle 2, 100, measure of angle 3, 80. All of them need the degree mark. And you should have the measure of angle 1, whatever equals, okay? Because remember, measure of indicates a number. Number 4, and I don't have the drawing for all of these, sorry, but hopefully you have your book open because it really would be best if you did. Otherwise, if you got one wrong, you just know you got it wrong. You don't know why it is what it is. So vertical angles to the given angle would be angle 3, adjacent would be angle 2, and the measure of angle 1 would be 40 degrees. Number 5, vertical to it would be angle 3, adjacent again would be number 2, and now the measure of angle 1 would be 110 degrees. For number 6, we needed to have the corresponding angles. So this has to be pairs of angles. So you have to have angle whatever and angle whatever, and they go in pairs. We've got 4 pairs. Okay, so your notation should be very similar to what you see circled here. 1 is corresponding to angle 5, angle 2 and angle 6 are corresponding, angle 3 and angle 7, angle 4 and angle 8. If you had a little congruent thing between them, you could also do that. That would be totally fine. Number 7, alternate interior has to be between the parallel lines and on opposite sides. So angle 2 and angle 8, angle 5 and angle 3 are the pairs of alternate interior. Number 8, an angle congruent to angle 8 would be angle 6, angle 2, and angle 4 based on the relationship to angle 8. So if it's vertical, or if it's corresponding, or if it's alternate interior, it will still be congruent to angle 8. Congruent to angle 1 in the next figure for number 9 would be angle 3, angle 5, and angle 7. Again, based on the relationship that we already looked at with other ones. And if the measure of angle 5 is 45, it asked us to find all of the angles, right? So I just wrote down measure of angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was given, 6, 7, and 8. So the ones we had to find, since 5 was given, are these. Now, all of the acute ones are 45 degrees, which means that 1, 3, 5, and 7 are all 45 degrees. And all of the obtuse ones are 135. So 2, 4, 6, and 8 are all 135 degrees. Then number 10, the sum of the angles is 180 degrees. That's if they form a straight line and if they form a triangle, you might recall. Number 11, I'll be honest, I don't know what the question was, but the answer is that they're complementary. Number 12, we had to find an angle that was vertical to the one given, and it's angle KPL. You could also have angle LPK, but P has to be in the middle because that's the vertex. Adjacent to that angle would either be angle JPI, otherwise known as angle IPJ, and angle HPM, otherwise known as angle MPH. Then the measure of angle 1. You do 180 minus 108 minus 38 because you take the other 2 off, right? Which is 180 minus 146 if you want to combine those, and that would be 34 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is 34 degrees. Number 16. We have an equation, n plus 90 is 4n. Well, now I can combine the n's because I got n's on both sides, got to subtract 1 away. So now 90 is 3n, divide by 3 and n is 30, but that's not what they asked us. They asked us what the angles were, right? So 4n would be 120. The measure of angle 1 would be the same as the measure of angle 2, which would be 60 degrees. Okay. look at the diagram again if that doesn't quite make sense to you. Number 20, the measure of angle 1 is 50 degrees. It is a corresponding angle. Then number 21, if the measure of angle 2 is 130 degrees, then leeway would not be parallel to highway 10, because the angle would have to be 110 degrees for it to be parallel, because the transversal has to cut through parallel lines at the same angle, right? And that's why we can get all these corresponding alternate interior things that are congruent. So there we are, and we'll see you on the next lesson video. Have a good one.